Hey everybody, and welcome to the very, very important webinar called Crush September. Be prepared now, or your business could be history. Today I have joining me in my CAT team, Darren, our accountant from Business Now, Martin Cattach, our working capital specialist from Finance for Business, and our CAT banker, Peter Burton-Wilkinson from Westpac. And I'm Marg Lange, the founder of Marg Lange Change Agency, a business launch specialist, a connector and a targeted lead generator. We do a lot of business with businesses right now affected with COVID, and that's why we're doing this important webinar. So I'm so glad that you're joining us today, and I hope that you get a lot out of it. So Martin, going on to the working capital strategy type of business that you help business owners with, how bad do you think the end of September is going to be for small business?
I think it's going to be much harder than people are expecting. What happens when you have government subsidies that run for such a long time, and we're looking at 6 months, the situation is that many businesses will become complacent. They've got JobKeeper, they've got all their staff employed, and when you become complacent in a situation where all those subsidies are going to end, you're going to have to face the day of reckoning. So I think some businesses are going to fail. They're not going to be here after JobKeeper runs out, but that perhaps opens opportunities for other businesses, and some businesses that are perhaps watching things like this and starting to plan will be in a much better position.
Yeah, well, what can then small businesses do with all this pain coming their way? What are you telling small businesses to do?
Well, I'm saying it's now time to plan. Basically, you've got to sit down and work out your cash flow, and you've got some opportunities now because you've got a subsidised workforce because of JobKeeper. You should really be trying pretty hard to put some dollars in the bank and build the business up a bit in this environment, because while you've got the government assistance, your rent's reduced, you can look at trying to get some more revenue in the business. It's going to be a hard slog, but there is some very early information coming out that discretionary expenditure is starting to lift a little bit, and things are looking a bit easier. So it's time to get back into business now and not wait till September, and have the funds the government is providing you as a backup, so you are ready for what happens in September.
And so with all this pain coming their way, what are small businesses, what's your perception of what small businesses are doing now? Are they panicking? Are they planning? What's your perception of that?
Look, some people are panicking, but some people are beginning to plan. And from a working capital perspective, there's a couple of things you need to do if you're in business right now. The first one is you need to look at managing your customers, because the customers are the lifeblood of your business. So you need to be on the phone, talking to your customers, telling them that you're still open for business and that you want to do business. You've also, I think it's a great time to look at revamping your trading terms. One of the things that affects working capital in a business is their trading terms, and there has never, ever been a better time to go to your customer base and say, well, you remember I used to invoice you 30 days and you used to pay me in 60. Well, I'm now going to invoice you for 14 days and expect to be paid by 30. And if I'm not, I'll be stopping credit terms. And most businesses are in a similar situation. So it's a great time to be able to change that aspect of your business. You can also go to your suppliers, the people you buy from. Generally, our suppliers have a little more financial depth and are a bigger business than we are, and talk to them about extending your credit terms, saying to them that we want to keep this business going, we want to stay your customer, but you've got far more financial weight than we have. we'd like to look at getting slightly longer terms. And if you can't get longer terms, I'm also looking at a discount for early settlement. So if you are going to have to pay early, let's see if we can get a discount in those terms. And the next thing you have to look at is your stock. Clients, you've had a slowdown, there'll be a lot of dead stock sitting around, maybe too much stock. You need to look at liquidating that as soon as you can, getting rid of that stock, and perhaps talking to your suppliers and your customers and understanding what their requirements and what you can expect in sales and what your supplier can deliver, so you can shorten your stock cycle and perhaps carry less stock, which is going to give you more working capital overall. And then the last thing I'm talking to my clients about, it's now time to look at your staff. You may not have need in post-September for the same amount of people you're carrying now. Maybe it's time to look at the best ones and keep them, and perhaps let a few people go, or the low performers, so that your business is going to be in a better shape come September.
So we know that the banks are open for business with loans, and Pete said that it's a great time to open up a business. And Darren has clarified that diversification and relaunching is the way to go. So from a working capital perspective, if someone's launching a business now, what would you say to that person?
Well, I think that what they need to do is conserve their capital. And so, the old equation, don't buy something if you can rent it. Can keep as much capital as you can on hand. But it is really a good time. I say to existing businesses, think like a startup and act or actually think like you're starting a new business. And if you are starting a new business, you've got the advantage that many of the older legacy businesses that were in your market, some of them are going to fail. So there is going to be new opportunity, more customers about, because it's just the best opportunity for starting a new business is right now. Anyone who's considering that should really look at getting their business model in order, thinking a way forward, because there are going to be lots of opportunities because the entire competitive landscape has changed.
The next question is to you, Martin. It comes from Tim. He's asking, what industries do you think are going to suffer the most?
Well, I think the industries that are going to suffer the most are those that will have problems dealing with social distancing. So I think hospitality is particularly going to suffer, and as is the entertainment industry. We are not going to see any more nightclubs for a long time. And even if you're a cafe or a restaurant or even a hotel, a room where you would have put once 100 people for dinner, you can now only put 50 in because of social distancing. So you're going to have to reorganise and run leaner, because you just cannot have the same sort of customers like you had February this year. You're just not going to be able to have that many people in a room. So I think they will face, and some of the economic predictions are saying that between 20 and 30% of cafes and restaurants will actually fail. So I think hospitality is particularly going to have a very hard time. There's talk that there's a bit of pent-up demand after the sort of lockdown, that people want to get out and spend a bit as soon as they can. So there has been I know, for example, Bunnings have been having great sales in the home improvement area, and some of the retail areas will do well. I don't think the department stores are going to do very well, though.
Yeah. Now, I'm not sure who would like to answer this question, but this is from Monica. What do you guys think about the market crashes many people talk about, and the possible demise of the US dollar, which would then affect the Aussie dollar as well? Is this something that people should be wary of, or is it just hype?
I think that the US, I actually attempted to call it a failed state at the moment. America is going to have a real economic setback. Their cases are going through the roof at the moment. Their leadership is of very poor quality, and that's going to have a terrible effect on the US economy. And generally, when the US economy turns down, it has an adverse effect against Australia. However, this time round, because we've done such a good job of looking after the COVID problem, and because we're a modern Western democracy, some of the funds that might have been due to go into US for investment may in fact find themselves here. So I don't really know what the outcome will be, but I think it's a bit of a two-way bet at the moment, because Australia is in a better position than many other Western first world type economies, and so we may get some long-term benefits out of America's demise.
Well, thank you, Martin, Darren and Peter, for joining us today. I hope everybody has got a lot out of today's webinar. And I'd just like you to remember that Marg Lange Change Agency, we're here to relaunch you. If you're a startup, we can help you do that. And as you can see, I've got all the expertise in my CAT team. And if you're wondering what a CAT team is, it's a change agency team. We're here to establish positive change in a pandemic, in a crisis, and to ensure that you can launch or relaunch safely. So thank you for joining me today.
Thank you, Marg.